Hey, what's going on, everybody? Steve here, Rake and Profit over at rakeandprofit.com, coming back to you with a new video. And in today's video, I want to share with you 6 tips to be able to overcome restock limits. I know nobody wants to talk about restock limits. This year in particular was really rough, especially for booksellers, as restock limits didn't get cut only once or twice or 3 times. I believe that got cut about 4 times. And when it comes to my Amazon business, my stock limits, the amount of items I'm able to keep in Amazon FBA at a single time, dropped from around 17,000 down to 11, down to 7, and now it's down to about 4,200 units that I'm able to stock at Amazon FBA. And for someone like myself who does a lot of online arbitrage, eBay to Amazon in particular, it didn't really hurt me because I still only have about 2,500 items in my inventory. But if you're a bookseller, which is much more of a higher volume game, you're typically going to have a lot more items in your inventory. This hurt a lot of booksellers. Matter of fact, one of my good friends who was close to hitting 6 figures, he had, I don't know what he had. He had maybe 7,000 or 8,000 in his inventory, or maybe it was 14,000. I don't remember, but it was a lot. It was thousands of books, and they dropped his limit so far down that he was in the negative, right? Let's just say that he had a limit of, 7,000. He might have had 10 or 11,000 in his inventory. So what do you do in that situation? Well, first off, we all have to keep in mind that the reason why Amazon is doing this is because they want to keep their warehouses clear, and they want to have, enough space and even manpower, right? Or woman power as well, whoever's at the warehouses, right? To be able to process all of the orders for Q4, for the holiday season, so on and so forth. So they're really trying to, I would say, veer sellers away from sending in stuff that isn't going to turn quickly, right? They don't want to, load up their warehouses with a bunch of stuff that's not going to turn, or that's going to take up their staff's time having to process and store stuff that isn't really what's going to be selling or in demand. So this happens every single holiday season, but this year, it was really rough. And I think I read recently that Amazon just laid off, what was it, 10 or 11,000 workers? So expect this problem to, continue, and who knows, it might even get worse. But let's kind of talk about some tips and some tactics for how you could clear up space, how you could overcome these restock limits, so you're able to free up space or continue selling and sending stuff into Amazon FBA. So with that being said, smash that like button and let's get right into the video. So the first tip that I would like to offer is to go through your inventory and take a look at the types of items that you have available. Have they been sitting for a while? Maybe they've been sitting for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Maybe the profits have dried up, or there's been some price tanking. Maybe the e-score isn't that great, right? Maybe the Keepa chart's not looking fantastic, and it's not an item that's, really something that you want in your inventory. Clear that stuff out. And there's actually some reports that you could run in terms of your inventory to take a look and see how long your items have been in your inventory. So you could run a report to see how many have been in your inventory for like 30 days. And I think it's like 60 to 90 and then 180. So that's a really great tip. Go into your inventory and clean out the dead stock, clean out the stuff that is, tanked in price. And that's going to happen. You're going to have a small percentage of your items, as long as you're buying correctly and you're reading Keepa and you're going through the processes that I talk about. You're still, even if you do everything perfect, you're going to have items that tank or change over time. So get rid of them, right? You could either dispose of them, and I think that's a small fee that Amazon will pay to trash it, AKA probably sell it on their own, or they even have a liquidation service that I haven't used, but I've heard that they'll give you a couple pennies or so for the items, or you can actually pay to have the items shipped back to you, and maybe you're going to want to sell them on eBay or hold on to them for another time. So that's tip number 1. Go through your inventory, clean out the dead stock, and open up some availability for you to, be able to send stuff into Amazon. Tip number 2, and I guess this isn't going to really help you out too much if you're trying to clear out space, but just keep in mind, especially for next year when you go through this process, or even if you still have limited space right now, maybe you haven't hit your restock limit, maybe you have a couple hundred available, focus on items that are going to turn quickly. I can't say this enough. I don't care if you buy an item that's going to make you $50, $60, $70 profit. Maybe it's a book, but if it's ranked 4 million and has a 0 or a 1 e-score, you don't really want to be sending that in during Q4. wait until, August, September, or January, right? Wait until textbook season, or, study the Keepa charts and see if that's a seasonal item, when that's going to turn. But you really want to focus on looking at the Keepa charts. You want to focus on, if you're competing with Amazon and you're selling new, most likely not a bookseller, but if you are selling new, check Keepa's buy box statistics, check the offers tab to see how many units are moving. If you're using Scout IQ, take a look at where the buy box is, take a look at how much profit, take a look at the e-score, take a look at the rank. You want to weigh everything out. But that's a big issue that a lot of booksellers dealt with this year. And I know because I went into a lot of people's stores and helped and coached them. They had a lot of inventory that was just, maybe it was all right long tail and it was profitable long term. But when restock limits hit, they had 50, 60, 70% of the inventory where it was just long tail, or the prices tanked, or, they went after items that were profitable now, but there was such a big merchant to FBA gap that the prices dropped and they were waiting second, third, fourth in line. You don't want to play any games when fourth quarter hits. You want to make your money as a bookseller when it's August, September, when it's January textbook season. And, I think this is a trend moving forward. Amazon's going to become more and more harsh and cold when it comes to, restock limits and moving inventory through their warehouses. So focus on items that are going to turn over. Don't just look at the profit. Look at Keepa, look at the e-score, look at the rank, look at how many sellers there are. Take a look at the trends or the amount of sellers going up or down, and just weigh it all out and analyze it. So take that into consideration. Tip number 3, and I'm probably a little bit biased here because this is my business model, but if you have experience selling on Amazon, you know how to read Keepa charts, you've already been selling and sending in shipments and listing, maybe you have yourself a repricer, it's not required, but I would look into eBay to Amazon flipping, right? I call it E to A. I actually have a masterclass. It's the eBay to Amazon masterclass. It's about 7 hours. I've taught over 600 people. We have a private community. I'm not here to pitch you on that. You can, learn on your own, do some research, whatever. If you want my help, I got you. But regardless, start looking into online arbitrage, eBay to Amazon specifically. And what I like about that is you can really cherry pick items. So, in my business in particular, I focus on a lot of media items, board games, video games. What I love about eBay to Amazon is, well, while it's not as, I would say the margins of the ROI is not going to be as high as a thrift store or a garage sale, I could buy so many more items and I could really control everything, right? Who here has ever gone to a thrift store? And I'm sure you, and you're having a slow day and maybe you have a quota, you want to buy a certain amount or spend a certain amount, and you're having a hard time because the competition beats you. But you're like, I got to buy a certain amount of items. So you start lowering your standards. You start lowering, all right, usually you want to go with like maybe a 10 or a 15 e-score minimum. And now you're like, I'll take a 6 or a 7. Maybe you want a 40 to 50% margin. Now you start taking a 25% margin, right? Everyone's model is different. But the point I'm trying to make is there's a lot of factors that are out of your control when you're thrifting, auctions, flea markets, stuff like that. And a lot of times you lower your standards and you start buying stuff that you necessarily wouldn't want to buy at scale. The best part about especially eBay to Amazon flips is there's so many opportunities and so little competition because it's harder, requires more capital, more experience. The point being is you could really cherry pick items. And that's why I feel like I had a leg up and I didn't really deal with issues as much as others, is because my restock limit never hit the threshold because my turnover rate is so high, between 40 to 50% a month, because I'm cherry picking, and Amazon sees that I'm consistently replenishing items. I'm turning it quickly. So even though my restock limit did come crashing down from 18,000 down to 4,000 or so, I still never got capped out and I never went into the negative like some people did. And that really helped me. So start cherry picking more. Again, if you can cherry pick from thrift stores and whatnot, that's fine, but it's typically going to cost you a lot more time. And for me, even though my margins are around 30% at the end of the day, and it would be higher with thrift stores, I could scale much higher as I'm buying around 1,300 items per month right now. So the moral of the story is cherry pick more often and don't settle for those lower ROIs, those lower turnover rates, because when it comes to restock limits, it will hurt you big time. Tip number 4, baby, get yourself a repricer. I put out a couple of videos over the last few months and I use the repricer Bqool. There's a bunch of them out there. I'm not here to tell you buy Bqool and go through my affiliate link, even though it is down below. 30 days free trial. But there's a couple other great ones out there. There's Aura. Repricer is another fantastic one. And I think that's only like $10 a month. I like Bqool because it's got some AI technology. I could set up a minimum, maximum price. It works really well for what I'm doing. If you're a bookseller, I'd probably look into Reprice it. I also have a masterclass that I teamed up with my good friend Lorenzo that I'll put a link down below if you need help setting up Reprice it. It's unbelievable. So you can check that out. But get yourself a Repricer, because when I set up a Repricer, my sales went through the freaking roof. My sales were up over 50% within the first couple of weeks. And I'll put a link down to a video. I posted an update. I believe it was a 2.5 or a 3-month update. My Repricer Bqool brought me in over $50,000 in sales. And the best part about using Bqool is you can actually log in to the dashboard and it'll share with you what sales actually came from the Repricer. It'll share the buy box win percentage, what the Repricer is doing. So that was really helpful. And I can tell you right now, if you want to sell your items quicker and increase your profits, most certainly look into using a Repricer. Now, the next tip that I want to share, tip number 5, is to make sure that you price your items to sell. You know, I've talked about in previous videos that at times it's best to price your items 3rd, 4th, 5th in line. But when you're dealing with, especially Q4, where you want to have available items to flip, you don't want to have a ton of stuff at your house that you can't send in. You want to make sure you're pricing your items to sell. So again, I want to reiterate the importance of pricing to win the buy box. Be an FBA seller, price competitively, have really good feedback. Of course, get your experience up in your selling history, so when that time comes, you're going to win the buy box. But pricing your items 3rd, 4th, 5th in line, and if the item's a slow seller, there's not a huge market for it, there's not a big demand, your items are just going to sit some more, and that is going to affect your turnover rate and most likely affect your restock limits. So price your items to sell. You don't have to undercut and price tank. As long as you're competitive, you're an FBA seller, you have good feedback. If you match the buy box, you're typically going to rotate throughout the buy box. And again, you can check Keepa to look at the offers tab, or you could even dive into the buy box statistics to see how often the buy box rotates. But hopefully that helps, and hopefully you apply that. And my last tip number 6 is to make sure that you sign up for the Pro account. Yes, I know it's $39.99 per month and nobody wants to eat another monthly subscription, but it's really important because this is actually how you're going to become eligible to win the buy box. And as I mentioned, over 80%, 80 to 85% of sales are going through that buy box. So you want to make sure you're eligible and you're allowed to win the buy box. And even though you may think to yourself, well, I got an Amazon account, I'm selling on the platform, they're going to give it to me. If you're just an individual seller, which is the free account, not only are you going to be paying an extra $1 per item that you sell, and yes, you're saving the $40, buck per month plan or that fee. But once you sell over 40 items, you're actually losing money because of that $1 fee. But most importantly, you're not going to win the buy box. And yes, I know if you're a new seller, a lot of people complain, well, I'm an FBA seller and I'm paying $40 a month, the Pro plan, and I'm still not winning it. It's part of the game because Amazon's looking at you with a close eye, and their algorithm at least is like trying to figure out if this guy or this girl is going to provide good service. Are they going to have order defects? So on and so forth. So they're almost like testing you to make sure you're going to be a good seller. So, the point being is make sure you get a Pro account. Yes, you may be saving a little money on the front end, but you're losing a lot on the back end. So those are the tips. Hopefully that helps. One more quick tip that I would like to share just off the top, and this is something that I did recently, is go through your shipments. Sometimes, I don't know why I've done this, but in the past I've duplicated a shipment by accident, or there are a couple shipments that I canceled because I messed something up. If those are still open, even though you never shipped them out, maybe you already shipped out that box, but you have one that you duplicated, that's going to be counting against your restock limit. So delete those out. I'm not talking about the ones you already shipped, but if you have open shipments that you're not planning to ship out because you paused it or duplicated it accidentally, delete them out, because I had a couple for one reason or another from a while ago, deleted them out. They hadn't closed, and I freed up a couple hundred inventory. I didn't need it, but it was a good little tip. I think I learned that from Larry over at Watch Me Amazon. So if that was Larry, big shout out to you for that. But hopefully you all enjoyed this video. If you want to learn more about how to sell on Amazon, I welcome you to join my free Facebook group. You can go to rakeandprofit.com/community or check the link down below. We just hit over 3,000 members, which is fantastic. It's been so amazing just watching everybody progress and grow. And yeah, I can't thank you all enough for following. Super pumped up to continue to help you guys out and make more videos. And with that being said, much love and see you in the next one. Bye.